It's primary election day in Montana today, although for the first time in state history, no one is heading off to the polls. But the first statewide all-mail-in ballot election has already set a record for the number of votes cast in a primary. And voting and registering to vote will continue today at county election offices. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us what's at stake today.
The old record for Montanans voting in a primary election was about 293,000 people in 2016. But as of Monday morning, that record had been smashed by 20,000 ballots, and thousands more are expected to arrive at county election offices by close of voting at 8 o'clock tonight. Voters also can drop off ballots in person today at election offices or register to vote if they haven't already and get a ballot, vote it, and turn it in. County election officers statewide decided on the all-mail ballot in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic to protect voters and poll watchers from possible infection at public polls. The primary election apparently is drawing plenty of interest from voters, and it should, with many high-profile races. Montana voters will choose nominees for our next governor, deciding a three-way race among Republicans Tim Fox, Greg Gianforte, and Al Olszewski, and a spirited matchup between Democrats Mike Cooney and Whitney Williams. Montana's U.S. House seat also is open, and there's a six-person race for the Republican nomination, and a two-person battle for the Democratic choice between Kathleen Williams and Tom Winter. Attorney General has hotly contested races for both the Democratic and Republican nominations, and there are battles for the Republican nominee for Secretary of State and again on both sides for the state auditor. We also have scores of contested primaries for legislative seats as well, all across Montana. And finally, we have three primaries in the state's biggest contest for U.S. Senate. But in at least two of them, there's little doubt who will win today, Republican Senator Steve Daines and his Democratic challenger, Governor Steve Bullock. The third primary for the U.S. Senate is for the Green Party between two candidates. But the big showdown this fall, of course, will be Bullock versus Daines in a race that could decide party control of the Senate. Today's primary will set the stage for one of Montana's biggest general elections in recent memory. But as Montana State University political scientist David Parker tells us, the final outcomes this fall will be anything but predictable.
I just think the way in which the electorate might be thinking about issues is going to be very different. So obviously we're going to see a very weird campaign. We're not going to have the normal going out and handshake and doing rallies, and we've already seen debates online. So it's hard, even given all that uncertainty, to even project what's going to happen in the fall. So it's always hard. It's probably even harder now.
One thing we do know, however, in these troubled times, Montanans are still exercising their right to vote in record numbers. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Because of changes in election law, the vote counting might get done a bit earlier tonight. We'll have all the results for you here on MTN this evening.